Ladies and gentlemen, confidence is not about being loud. Confidence is not about proving yourself to the world. Confidence is when your heart is calm, your mind is clear, and you know your worth even when no one claps for you. A confident woman does not wait for permission. She does not wait for approval. She stands quietly and believes, I am enough, even today, even here. Confidence is knowing your worth without needing approval. It is the quiet belief that lives inside you, even when no one is watching, even when no one is praising you. It is not built by compliments, and it does not disappear with criticism. True confidence is internal. It is the understanding that your value is not decided by how others see you, but by how deeply you respect yourself. Many people confuse confidence with attention. They think confidence means being seen, being admired, being chosen. But the strongest confidence often grows in silence. It grows when you keep going without validation, when you stay honest even if it costs you popularity, when you remain kind without expecting anything in return. A confident woman does not chase approval because she knows that approval is temporary, but self-respect stays. From a young age, many women are taught to seek acceptance, to be liked, to be praised, to adjust themselves so they fit into expectations that were never designed for them. Over time, this creates doubt. You begin to question your voice, your choices, your dreams. You start waiting for permission before taking a step. Confidence begins the moment you stop asking, is this okay for them? And start asking, is this right for me? Knowing your worth does not mean you think you are better than others. It means you no longer think you are less. It means you stop measuring yourself through other people's opinions. Praise does not make you feel bigger, and criticism does not make you feel smaller. You listen, you learn, but you do not let anyone define you. Your worth stays steady, even when emotions fluctuate. A woman who knows her worth does not beg to be chosen. She does not stay where she is disrespected. She does not explain her pain to people who refuse to understand. She understands that walking away from what hurts her is not weakness, it is wisdom. She understands that staying silent can sometimes be more powerful than proving a point. Confidence without approval is built through small decisions. It is built when you say no and do not feel guilty. When you rest without explaining yourself, when you stop over-apologizing for existing, when you allow yourself to grow without announcing it to the world. Each of these choices strengthens your inner foundation. There will be moments when you feel unseen, when your efforts are ignored, when your intentions are misunderstood. In those moments, confidence is choosing not to abandon yourself. It is choosing to remain aligned with who you are, even if it feels lonely. It is understanding that being alone is sometimes safer than being surrounded by people who drain your energy. A confident woman does not perform strength. She lives it. She does not need to convince others of her value because she has already accepted it herself. She can be soft without being weak and firm without being harsh. She can accept feedback without losing herself. She can grow without losing her roots. Knowing your worth also means allowing yourself to be imperfect. Confidence is not about being flawless. It is about being real. It is about admitting mistakes without shame and learning without self-hate. When you stop needing approval, you stop pretending. And when you stop pretending, you start living honestly. The world may try to label you. It may try to reduce you to one moment, one failure, one opinion. Confidence is refusing to carry labels that do not belong to you. It is choosing your own standards, your own pace, your own definition of success. It is trusting yourself enough to move forward even when the path is unclear. When approval is no longer your fuel, freedom becomes your strength. You move with intention instead of fear. You speak with clarity instead of hesitation. You make decisions based on values, not validation. And slowly, quietly, your presence becomes stronger, calmer, and unshakable. rooted in the deep understanding that your worth was never something to be given by others. It was always something you carried within yourself. Your pain did not break you, it shaped you. What you went through was not meant to destroy you, even though at times it felt unbearable. Pain enters life uninvited, without explanation, without warning. It changes your routine, your thoughts, your understanding of people and yourself. But pain is not random. It leaves marks, yes, but it also leaves lessons, depth, and strength that comfort never could. When pain first arrives, it feels like loss, loss of peace, loss of certainty, loss of who you used to be. You grieve the version of yourself that laughed easily, trusted freely, and believed without fear. That grief is real. It deserves acknowledgement, but slowly, something begins to shift. You start noticing that you are still standing. Breathing, thinking, trying, and that is where shaping begins. Pain teaches awareness. It opens your eyes to truths you once ignored. It shows you who stays and who leaves. It shows you which doors were never meant to remain open. It sharpens your ability to sense what feels right and what feels forced. After pain, you stop accepting less than you deserve because you have already paid too much emotionally. Pain builds emotional strength in silence. No one sees the nights you survived. No one sees the internal battles you fought just to get through the day. But those unseen moments become your backbone. You learn how to self-soothe, how to sit with discomfort without running from it, how to keep going even when motivation disappears. Pain also teaches boundaries. Before pain, you may have given too much, tolerated too much, stayed quiet too long. After pain, you learn to protect your energy. You learn that not everyone deserves access to you. You learn that saying no is not cruelty, it is clarity. Pain trains you to value your time, your emotions, your presence. There is a depth that only pain can give. A softness that comes from understanding suffering. A patience that grows when you know what it feels like to be overwhelmed. Pain shapes your empathy. You listen differently. You respond gently. You stop judging stories you do not fully know. You become someone who understands that everyone is carrying something invisible. Pain also reshapes your priorities. Things that once felt urgent lose their importance. You stop chasing approval that does not feed your soul. You stop proving yourself to people who cannot see you. You begin choosing peace over performance, meaning over noise. Truth over comfort. Through pain, you discover your inner voice. Before, it may have been quiet, buried under expectations and fear. Pain strips away distractions. It forces you inward, and there you meet yourself honestly. Not the version you show the world, but the version that feels deeply, questions deeply, and survives deeply. Pain does not mean you are weak. Feeling deeply is not a flaw. Crying is not collapse. Breaking down is sometimes the only way to break open. Every tear carries information. Every moment of hurt teaches endurance. You are not fragile because you felt pain. You are human. Pain reshapes your definition of strength. Strength is no longer about holding everything together perfectly. Strength becomes getting up when you feel empty, speaking up when your voice shakes, resting without guilt. Healing without rushing. Strength becomes choosing yourself after being hurt. You may wish pain never happened. That is natural. But if you look closely, you will see that the version of you now has more awareness, more wisdom, more courage than before. You think differently. You love more carefully. You trust more intentionally. Pain carves space inside you for growth, understanding, and self-respect. You are not who you were before the pain, and that is not a loss, that is evolution. Pain does not erase you, it reveals you. It peels away what was fragile and leaves behind what is real. What remains is someone who has felt deeply and still chose to live fully, someone shaped by experience, not broken by it. Scars are proof of survival, not failure. They are the marks left behind after battles that were never visible to the world. Every scar carries a memory of a moment when you were tested, when life demanded more strength than you thought you had. Scars do not appear on people who avoided hardship. They appear on those who faced it and lived through it. Many people try to hide their scars. They cover them with silence, with smiles, with strength they feel forced to perform. Society teaches us that scars mean something went wrong, that they are something to be ashamed of. But scars are not mistakes. They are evidence that healing happened. A wound that never heals stays open. A scar means the body, the heart, or the mind repaired itself. Scars change how you see yourself. At first, you may look at them with discomfort. You may wish things had been different. You may replay moments and ask why you had to go through that pain, but over time, your relationship with your scars evolves. You begin to understand that without those experiences, you would not have gained the strength, awareness, or wisdom you now carry. Every scar teaches resilience. It reminds you that you endured something that once felt impossible. When doubt enters your mind, scars quietly remind you that you have survived worse. They become a source of grounding. A reminder that even when you felt broken, something inside you chose to continue. Scars also teach humility. They strip away false confidence and replace it with real self-knowledge. You stop pretending to be invincible. You stop judging others for their weaknesses. You understand that strength and vulnerability often exist together. This understanding deepens your character and softens your heart. There is honesty in scars. They tell a truth that words often cannot explain. They speak of endurance, of patience, of learning through pain. A person without scars may speak about strength, but a person with scars lives it. Their presence carries depth. Their words carry weight. Scars do not define you, but they shape you. They influence how you love, how you trust, how you protect yourself. They teach you caution without turning you cold. They teach you hope without making you naive. Through scars, you learn balance. Some scars are visible, others are hidden deep inside. Emotional scars often hurt more because they are invisible. People expect you to move on quickly because they cannot see the damage. But invisible scars require just as much healing. Acknowledging them is an act of courage. Scars remind you to slow down, to listen to your body, your mind, your emotions. They teach you the importance of rest, of reflection, of care. They show you that pushing through pain without healing only causes deeper damage. There is beauty in scars, not because pain is beautiful, but because survival is. Because choosing to live, to heal, to continue, is powerful. Scars represent a story that did not end when it could have. They represent growth that came from difficulty. You do not need to explain your scars to anyone. You do not need to justify your healing process. Some battles were private, some pain was personal. Your scars belong to you. They are not for public approval or understanding. When you stop seeing scars as flaws, your relationship with yourself changes. You stop wishing for a version of yourself that never struggled. You start honoring the version that endured, the one who learned, adapted, and grew. Scars are reminders of who you became, not who you failed to be. They stand as quiet proof that life challenged you and you remained. They are not signs of weakness, they are signs of strength lived through experience, resilience earned through struggle, and courage formed in moments where giving up would have been easier. Speak kindly to yourself, especially on hard days. The voice you hear most in your life is your own, and its tone matters more than you realize. On difficult days, when energy is low and emotions feel heavy, the way you speak to yourself can either become a source of comfort or another layer of pain. Kind self-talk is not weakness, it is emotional intelligence. Many people are gentle with others, but harsh with themselves. They forgive mistakes in friends, yet punish themselves for small failures. They encourage others to rest, but feel guilty when they do the same. Over time, this inner harshness becomes exhausting. It creates pressure that never turns off. Speaking kindly to yourself means breaking that pattern. Hard days do not mean you are failing. They mean you are human. There will be days when you are tired for no clear reason, when focus feels distant, when motivation disappears. On those days, self-criticism only deepens the struggle. Kind words soften the weight. They allow space to breathe, to recover, to continue. The way you speak to yourself shapes how you see your abilities. When you constantly say you are not good enough, your mind begins to believe it. When you remind yourself that you are learning, growing, and trying, your confidence slowly strengthens. Words repeated become beliefs. Beliefs repeated become identity. Kindness toward yourself does not mean avoiding responsibility. It means holding yourself accountable without cruelty. It means saying, I made a mistake and I will learn from it, instead of, I always mess things up. One approach encourages growth. The other creates fear and self-doubt. On hard days, your mind may bring up old failures, regrets, or comparisons. This is when kindness becomes most important. Instead of fighting those thoughts with anger, meet them with understanding. Remind yourself of how far you have come. Remind yourself that progress is not erased by one bad day. Speaking kindly to yourself also means allowing rest. Rest is not laziness, it is maintenance. Just as the body needs recovery, the mind needs gentleness. Pushing yourself harshly during burn-out does not create strength, it creates damage. Kindness allows sustainability. Kindness builds emotional safety. When you know you will not attack yourself for trying, you become more willing to take risks. You become more creative, more open, more resilient. Fear of self-judgment often holds people back more than fear of failure. Hard days test your relationship with yourself. Anyone can be confident when life is easy. True self-respect shows in moments of difficulty. When things go wrong and you still choose patience over punishment, you strengthen trust with yourself. Kind words can be simple. I am doing my best. This is hard and that's okay. I don't need to be perfect today. These words do not erase problems, but they change how you carry them. They reduce emotional weight and increase clarity. Over time, speaking kindly to yourself reshapes your inner world. You become less reactive and more reflective. You stop tearing yourself down and start building yourself up. You respond to challenges with calm instead of panic. You learn that motivation does not always come from pressure. Sometimes it comes from compassion. When you treat yourself with care, you create an environment where growth feels safe. You allow yourself to evolve without fear of constant self-attack. Speaking kindly to yourself is a daily practice. It requires awareness and intention, especially on hard days when negativity feels automatic. Kindness becomes a choice to protect your mental space, a choice to support yourself instead of becoming your own enemy. Your words shape your experience. When you choose kindness, even in struggle, you teach yourself resilience. You learn that strength does not come from being harsh, but from being steady, patient, and understanding with yourself in moments when you need it most. Falling means you are trying, not losing. Every attempt carries risk, and risk always carries the possibility of falling. People who never fall often never move beyond what feels safe. They stay within limits that protect comfort but prevent growth. Falling is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you stepped forward instead of standing still. From a young age, many are taught to fear failure. Mistakes are treated as embarrassment instead of education. This creates hesitation. You begin to wait until you feel fully ready, fully confident, fully certain. But readiness is built through action, not waiting. Falling becomes part of the learning process, not the end of it. Each fall teaches something important. It shows what did not work, what needs adjustment, what can be improved. Without falling, progress remains shallow. You may move, but you do not evolve. Falling forces reflection. It invites awareness, it sharpens judgment and builds experience. There is emotional pain attached to falling. Disappointment, frustration, self-doubt, these feelings are natural. Ignoring them does not make you strong. Acknowledging them allows healing. Falling hurts, but staying down hurts more. The ability to rise again defines resilience. Many people confuse falling with losing. Losing implies an ending. Falling implies continuation. A fall only becomes a loss when you refuse to stand back up. Growth is not a straight line. It is uneven, uncertain, and often uncomfortable. Falling is part of its shape. When you fall, your inner voice matters. If you attack yourself, the fall feels heavier. If you speak with understanding, the fall becomes manageable. The way you respond to falling determines whether it weakens or strengthens you. Falling also builds humility. It reminds you that perfection is unrealistic. It softens ego and creates openness to learning. You become more patient with yourself and others. You realize that everyone falls, even those who appear confident and successful. Some falls are public, others are private. Public falls can bring shame and fear of judgment. Private falls can bring loneliness and doubt. Both require courage to move through. Falling publicly tests your confidence. Falling privately tests your self-trust. Falling teaches courage. It takes courage to try again after disappointment. It takes courage to face fear without certainty of success. Courage is not the absence of falling. It is the willingness to keep moving despite it. Each time you fall and rise, your strength increases. Not physical strength, but emotional endurance. You learn how to manage disappointment, how to recover, how to adapt. These skills cannot be learned without falling. Falling reshapes your relationship with success. Success stops being about flawless execution and becomes about persistence. You stop aiming to avoid mistakes and start aiming to improve. This shift reduces fear and increases freedom. When you accept falling as part of the journey, you stop being paralyzed by fear. You take chances. You explore possibilities. You trust yourself to handle outcomes, even difficult ones. Falling also creates empathy. When you have fallen, you become kinder to others who struggle. You understand that effort matters more than outcome. You support instead of judge. You listen instead of dismiss. Not every fall will make sense immediately. Some lessons become clear only with time, but each fall contributes to your growth, whether you recognize it or not. It builds layers of experience that prepare you for future challenges. Trying does not guarantee success, but not trying guarantees stagnation. Falling proves that you are engaged in life, not avoiding it. It shows that you are willing to risk discomfort for growth, willing to face uncertainty rather than remain still. Every step forward carries the chance of falling. Accepting that truth frees you from unrealistic expectations. You stop demanding perfection from yourself. You allow progress to be messy and real. Falling does not erase your effort. It honors it. It shows that you were brave enough to attempt something meaningful, brave enough to step beyond fear, brave enough to try again even when the ground felt unstable. Silence and walking away are forms of strength. Not every situation deserves your explanation, and not every reaction deserves your energy. Strength is often misunderstood as speaking louder, fighting harder, proving more. But real strength is knowing when to stay quiet and when to step back without guilt. It is choosing peace over chaos and dignity over drama. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It means you are aware of your emotions and capable of managing them. When you respond to every provocation, you give others power over your state of mind. Silence takes that power back. It allows you to pause, to breathe, to decide instead of react. Walking away does not mean you lost. It means you valued yourself enough to stop engaging in what harms you. There are arguments that lead nowhere, explanations that will never be understood, and relationships that drain more than they give. Walking away from these is not giving up, it is choosing self-respect. Many people stay in situations too long because they want to be understood. They repeat themselves, justify their feelings, and exhaust their emotions trying to convince others. Strength is realizing that not everyone is capable of understanding you, and that clarity does not always come through words. Silence protects your energy. Every conversation costs emotional currency. When you spend it on people who dismiss you, manipulate you, or disrespect you, you slowly deplete yourself. Silence is a boundary. It says, "This is not worth my peace." Walking away also requires courage. It is easier to stay familiar, even if familiar hurts. Walking away means facing uncertainty. It means letting go of expectations, attachments, and sometimes people you cared about. That choice takes inner strength, not weakness. Silence gives you space to think clearly. When emotions are high, words can become weapons against yourself. Silence prevents regret. It allows you to process before responding, or to choose not to respond at all. Not everything needs closure through conversation. Walking away teaches self-trust. It means you listen to your instincts instead of ignoring them. It means you recognize discomfort as information, not something to suppress. Each time you walk away from what does not align with you, your confidence grows quietly. Some people will misunderstand your silence. They may label it as pride or avoidance, but strength does not require approval. Your responsibility is not to manage other people's interpretations. It is to protect your mental and emotional health. Silence can be powerful communication. It shows boundaries without arguments. It shows maturity without lectures. It shows clarity without confrontation. Sometimes the strongest message is absence. Walking away also allows healing. Constant engagement keeps wounds open. Distance creates room to recover. When you remove yourself from negativity, your nervous system settles. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions stabilize. Strength is not about winning every conversation. It is about knowing which conversations are not worth entering. It is about choosing long-term peace over short-term satisfaction. Silence teaches patience. It trains you to sit with discomfort without reacting impulsively. This patience becomes a skill that serves you in many areas of life. You respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. Walking away reshapes your standards. You stop tolerating disrespect, confusion, and emotional chaos. You begin choosing environments that support your growth. This shift changes your life quietly but deeply. There will be moments when silence feels uncomfortable, when walking away feels lonely. That discomfort is temporary. The damage from staying too long lasts much longer. Silence and walking away are not acts of fear. They are acts of clarity. They show that you know your limits. They show that you value your peace more than being right, more than being heard, more than being involved. When you master silence, you stop needing to explain yourself. When you learn to walk away, you stop needing validation. You move differently, calmer, stronger, more grounded in who you are and what you will no longer accept. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect and awareness. Many people are taught that always being available, always saying yes, and always putting others first is a sign of goodness. Over time, this belief leads to exhaustion, resentment, and emotional burnout. Choosing peace means choosing sustainability, not isolation. Peace is not the absence of responsibility, it is the absence of unnecessary chaos. When you protect your peace, you are not avoiding life, you are choosing how to engage with it. You begin to notice which situations drain you and which ones restore you. This awareness allows you to make healthier choices. People who benefit from your constant availability may resist your boundaries. They may call you distant, changed, or selfish. This reaction often reveals how much they relied on your lack of boundaries. Protecting your peace means accepting that not everyone will be comfortable with your growth. Emotional peace requires limits. You cannot absorb every problem, every opinion, every expectation without consequence. Your mind and heart have capacity. When you exceed it, you lose clarity and balance. Boundaries protect your internal space so you can function fully. Protecting your peace means learning to say no without guilt. It means understanding that your time and energy are valuable resources. When you give them away without intention, you lose parts of yourself. When you give them consciously, you remain whole. Peace is closely connected to self-awareness. When you know what triggers you, what overwhelms you, and what calms you, you gain control over your reactions. You stop placing yourself in environments that constantly activate stress. This is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Protecting your peace also means limiting access. Not everyone deserves full entry into your thoughts, emotions, and plans. Some people listen only to criticize, some engage only to compete. Choosing distance from such interactions preserves your emotional health. Silence becomes a tool for peace. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop defending choices that align with your values. This quiet confidence reduces conflict and conserves energy. Peace does not mean comfort at all times. Sometimes protecting your peace requires difficult decisions. Ending relationships, changing routines, letting go of expectations. These choices may bring temporary discomfort, but they prevent long-term emotional damage. Protecting your peace improves your relationships. When you are not constantly overwhelmed, you show up more present and patient. You respond instead of react. You listen instead of defend. Peace strengthens connection rather than weakening it. Many people confuse peace with passivity. Peace is active. It requires awareness, discipline, and courage. It means choosing calm when chaos feels tempting. It means prioritizing mental health even when others do not understand. Protecting your peace also improves your productivity. A calm mind thinks clearly. It makes better decisions. It focuses deeper. Constant emotional noise blocks creativity and progress. Peace creates space for growth. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are responsible for managing your own. When you take ownership of your peace, you stop carrying burdens that were never yours to hold. Protecting your peace allows healing. Stress and conflict keep wounds open. Calm allows reflection and recovery. When you remove unnecessary pressure, your nervous system resets, your thoughts slow down, your body relaxes. Peace is personal. What disturbs one person may not affect another. Protecting your peace means honoring your individual needs, not following external standards. It means trusting yourself enough to choose what feels right. When you choose peace, you choose alignment. Your actions begin to match your values. Your decisions feel lighter. Your life feels more intentional. Protecting your peace is not about shutting the world out. It is about creating a life that supports your well-being and growth.